Hello, my name is Mykola Korsikov, and I would like to share with you some thoughts about the importance of change and how it could be implemented to help you achieve your goals faster and with fewer resources. Chameleons are known for their ability to change color of their skin depending on their environment. For them, it is a question of survival. Human species are no different, and for this reason, let's take a look at how people were changing industries. So, how things been going so far for? Some of the industries which in my opinion nicely cover a range of different business models, which are automotive industry, service, and construction industry. Let's take a closer look at automotive industry. Back in 1890, people were assembling cars by hand, and it was taking 5 days to get one vehicle ready. In 1918, Henry Ford introduced assembly line, process specialization, and streamlined mass production. This shortened process of building a car to 48 hours. In 2018, most of the car producers which want to survive and strive in the future introduced robotics, which automated process and took production to a whole new level. This shortened period of assembling a car to roughly 1 day. Let's take a closer look at some of the car makers. Specifically, Honda, 32 hours. Toyota, 29 hours. Tesla, 90 minutes, or less than 2 hours. As you can see, change made car production at least 5 times more efficient. Now, let's take a look at service industry. Starbucks serves 75 million of people per month in US alone. Its main business is serving coffee. In 2008, it was running 9.8 transactions per hour. Starbucks is also known for applying lean methodology to operational processes. So after studying processes and optimizing the processes in 2010, they managed to achieve 11.1 transactions and 11.7 in 2013. Don't ask me how many I executed in 2019, I just simply couldn't find it. Finally, we can take a look at truly fundamental industry, construction. Construction is all about concrete and bricks, right? Not exactly. Let's take a look at the following picture. For many of us, this is the building most frequently shown in Hollywood movies. 1931, Empire State Building was erected with 102 floors. For me as a perfectionist, those two are really something odd. And that was done in just 400 days. It is remarkably fast, and for comparison, Burj Khalifa in Dubai, with 163 floors, was constructed during 5 years. But at the same time, let me show you another building. This looks remarkably ordinary, isn't it? This building was built in 2015, so-called Mini Sky City. It is not as big as Empire State Building, only 57 floors, but remarkably 19 days to erect 57 floors. For most of us, it takes longer to agree on which restaurant to go to for a team building. I gave you all those examples, but you must be curious, right? How is it related to us? So tell me, which successful tech companies do you know? Let's see what Forbes has to say. If we just add industry, you will see that top 3 companies are software and programming. Actually, Tesla can also be called software company considering the crucial role of software. It is more of an application rather than gadget. If any of you seen its latest feature Smart Summon, you know why they didn't do it to the top of the list. The same we can say about Amazon. Considering the amount of focus it makes on AI, clouds, robotics and IoT, It is more technology rather than retail company. One thing all these companies have in common: innovation and its practical application. What does it tell us about the importance of change? You can make it to the tops of Forbes list. However, what about tech companies which fell from grace? Which tech companies do you know which failed? Yahoo was main play in online advertising companies, focused on media and failed to reflect on user experience. Failed to buy Google in 2002 and Facebook in 2006. In 2017, it was sold to Verizon. Nokia, big success from late 90s till 2007. But Nokia developed a mess of an operating system with bad user experience that just wasn't fit for market. When Nokia finally made the decision to compete with Android, it was too late. CDC Corporation was one of the biggest US computer companies in 60s. It was producing fastest computers in the world. Late 80s swiped it from the face of the market. So can you afford not to change? There are two types of people: arrogant and visionary. First ones will give you a simple answer. Of course. The visionaries will ask you about the result. Your skills can become obsolete, your profession extinct, and you become a dinosaur. So what are you going to do about it? There are two types of reactions. You either accept or adapt. The answer for those who fight for survival is self-evident: change. Hence, where do you start? Look around. Assess where you are. Understand your surrounding. Are you happy with what you see? Is this where you want to be? All this should help you to understand context in which you operate. The next thing to decide is, what do you want? Different companies, people will have different objectives. They could be number of projects, number of clients, improved margins, fame and popularity, attraction and retention of talent, or even change the world, like Musk and Bezos. For IT guys, it's business analysis through requirements elicitation, identifying business needs. All this should help us to understand goal. We know where you are. We know where you want to be. So the final question is, how? Peter Drucker, Lord Kelvin, and Master Yoda said the same thing. You can't manage what you don't measure. So we need numbers. How many projects should start each month? How many clients should be onboarded this year? What annual increase in gross profit would be okay? What resource utilization you want to achieve? What are the expectations from my team? How much should be in the bank in X years? Numbers such as dollar amounts, percent, hours, days, heads, etc. enable us to prepare a plan. How do you get there? Sometimes you already have the answer to this question, and the only thing you need is implementation. But sometimes they don't. So what you can ask is how others get there. Can you copycat? Once you decide on solution you want to implement, you also need to know what are the success criteria. So what you need to ask is, how do you know it will work? Can you get to the destination you are aiming by doing what you were doing so far? Not really. But why? Because you would have been there already. If your current approach is not giving you what you want. You need to do things differently. Following next three steps approach, you should be able to achieve the desired state. These steps are: as is, analysis of current state; to be, defining destination of desired outcome; pilot, small-scale application of solution selected. Analysis of processes as is starts with making a list of activities you perform. There are four elements which help to analyze activities: frequency of activities, or how often you do the activities; complexity or difficulty of activities; timely requirements for completion of activity or deadline; what tools and resources you need to perform it. Once we know what activities you execute, we need to analyze the sequence of each activity by answering question: how do you perform activity? The reason why we need to gain into details and see how each activity is executed, it enables us to identify bottlenecks and opportunities. Each activity has some input. What is it? Which tools you use to execute it? What output this activity generates? Next question to ask is: who are the stakeholders? First of all, let's make it clear what stake is. Stake is a strong wooden or metal post with a point at one end, driven into the ground to support form part of a fence, mark a boundary. Basically, it is this. And stake is used to mark territory you own. In case of business processes, stakeholders are those who impact or are impacted by your activities. You never do things by yourself. There is always someone who generates input for you. Who is that? Where do they get this input from? Once you get input and you execute your task, you generate some output. Who is waiting for your output? Why do they need it, and what do they do with it? Hopefully it serves some purpose. Final element of defining processes as is time. How long it takes to perform activities. Duration of activities is where opportunity to improve efficiency is hiding. Why it takes as long as it does? What internal or external factors impact duration? Perhaps some of them are not critical and could be eliminated. Could it be done faster? Perhaps we could compare our results against competitors or industry benchmarks. Finally, how can we accomplish the same result during shorter period of time? In other words, faster. Once we know all details related to current state as is, we can start defining processes to be. What is process to be? To be or not to be? That is very much hypothetical concept. It is a preferred method of executing activity based on observation done during analysis as is. First of all, what activities do you still need to perform? It happens that after analysis as is, we realize that nobody is using our output. Such activities are a waste of time and resources and should be abandoned. Save time for a coffee break. For those activities that we still want to run, what is the desired output? During which period of time should activity be accomplished? Best, worst, and realistic deadline. What is the most favorable order to execute activity? Perhaps some activities have to be done one after another, or the other way around. Perhaps activities could be done in parallel. Finally, who is in charge of delivering result? You must know it from experience. Where several people are responsible, nobody responsible. So there must be someone who is accountable for actual delivery of result. Eventually, once we analyze processes as is, define what and how processes to be will be run, we can put them to the test through assessing our hypotheses about processes to be. This is done via use of pilot. We have to select a pilot project, and this project will be used to check if particular process to be accomplishes goal we defined. Next, we have to select process executor, those who will be following new way of working. These executors should be trained to run processes in order we specifically designed it to be. It is important for people to have a buy-in, so they should be explained the purpose of this exercise to avoid sabotage from their side. Otherwise, the whole project will be jeopardized. The moment when processes are in progress, we have to monitor this execution. During this observation, we must record it, because as we remember, we cannot manage what we can't measure. After process is finished, we should perform retrospective analysis. This exercise gives us food for thought, an opportunity to validate if results are in line with our assumptions about process. Have we achieved what we wanted? If yes, good for us. If no, we should adjust the process. So we repeat review of the process to be, see what went not according to plan, change it, and run once again. Finally, when we get close enough to the desired outcome, we can scale process to be to the whole organization, department, or team. Obviously, once again, people have to be trained and still be monitored to ensure there is no deviation from the newly adjusted process to be. After some time, learning curve will kick in and processes with each time will be run faster and faster. On this positive note, we come to an end to this course. If you have questions and you want to know more, you can contact me on either LinkedIn or WeChat. I'm a frequent user of both. Thank you for your time and patience. Do hope that time spent was equally interesting for you as it was for me. Goodbye.